guys, this is Kishan and this video is to understand the difference between drop, delete and truncate statement. Every now and then we would have come across these three statements. These are very common in SQL. So first things first, a drop will remove both the data and the table structure. As soon as you do a drop table name, you have lost the table structure and all the data in the table. So the table is gone, you cannot get it back, you lost it. Actually, there's a catch, you can get it back. There's a flashback query which you can. I have made a separate video on that, you can go through it. Now, the delete and truncate statement are quite similar. They both will just remove the data from the table. The table structures would remain intact. So, the difference between delete and truncate now will take us to a delete is a DML statement, so it can be rolled back, whereas a truncate is a DDL statement, it's an auto commit. So these are the basic differences. A drop will delete the table structure and data. A delete is being a DML can be rolled back, and you can have a where clause as I've stated over here. You can have something like delete from table name where column name is equal to something, and a truncate being a DDL statement, it's an auto commit, and you cannot have a where clause, you cannot have any predicates. It's like the table, complete table, all the data in the table is truncated, but your structure remains intact. Now, drilling down more on these differences, we can come across some differences, such as when you do a delete, as I told you, when you do a delete, you can roll back the delete, because it being a DML, it allows a rollback. So to roll back, what Oracle does, it would copy your data into first and undo table space. So when you do a delete, the data is removed from your table and copied to undo table space. So this takes time, it happens a switch, it takes time, so it is a little slow than truncate. Now, as truncate being a DDL, it's an auto commit, no such copying of data is done, so it is much more faster. A truncate is faster than delete. Now, the second difference more on this is a delete will not update the high watermark of the table, whereas in truncate it would reset the HVM of the table. So now as the HVM is updated, I have a separate video on HVM, if you want to get some details more into it. So just for starters, it is like if the HVM is updated, there are no empty blocks to read when you do a select on the table, so the select runs faster. So if you have truncated a table and you do a select, it is like, of course there's no data, but it would be much fast. But if you have just deleted 10,000 records from a table and you do a select statement on the table, it will not be fast, even if you have deleted all the records, because there will be empty blocks which Oracle has to read. So you can get more on this HVM thing in the separate video. So just remember that a delete will not update the HVM, whereas a truncate would update the HVM. Now, coming more into this, as we know that a delete is a DML, so the DML trigger will fire if you have a before or after delete trigger on a table and you issue a delete statement, the trigger will be executed. But those triggers will not be executed in case of truncate. If you do a truncate and if there is a trigger, it will not get fired, because normal triggers are DML triggers or system triggers. Similarly with drop, even if there is a trigger in it, it will get invalidated and the table will be dropped. Now there is one more interesting difference between all these three is that if there is a foreign key, if the primary key of the table that you are deleting is being referenced by any child table and there's a primary key foreign key relationship going on, then if your delete statement satisfies that foreign key relationship, your delete is possible. But if you have such a relationship, you cannot drop or truncate. Your drop and truncate will raise an error. It will say like a foreign key, the primary key in this primary or unique key in this table is being referenced as a foreign key, so from another table. So you cannot do a drop or truncate. So I would just like to show you like what we have talked about over here. I would just like to show you that. So let me get into my SQL developer. Yeah, so I'm just creating a table called as country. I'm making the country ID as a primary key and the country name. I have a varchar 2. I have varchar 2 with 200 size. So I'm creating this table. So as you can see, the table is created. Excuse me. The table is created over here. Now I'm inserting 6 records, just simple 6 records into it. I'm committing it. So now as you see in the country table, you have 6 records. You have Sweden, Finland, Norway, Denmark, Iceland and Greenland. Okay, so what happens when I do a drop on this? Just simple drop table country. When I do this drop table country, as I told before, the table and the data both are gone. It will say table or view does not exist. So all the data, whether it was critical or anything, you have just dropped it. The data is gone. And now let's see what a delete would do. Let me just create the table again, insert the rows, commit it. So the table is there, the data is there, yes. I would do a delete. So I will do delete from country. Now as I told you, you can have a where clause. So I can do something like where country ID is equal to, let's say, 3. So I am doing a selective delete, it's possible. When I do a select star from country, I just deleted the 3rd record. So you see there are 5 records remaining in my table. I just did a selected delete. It is possible. And now I can simply roll it back. When I do a rollback, I have my record there. So selective delete is possible. Also you can just a rollback if you don't wish to commit it. Now just let me delete all of the data. And let me commit it. Let me do a select. See there's no data in it, but by doing a delete, the table structure is intact. I've just deleted all the data. Now let me just put the data back in and show you the truncate. Let me commit it. Now in truncate, when we say we do a truncate table country, see that there is currently data in this table. When I do a truncate, it will remove all the data. There is no where clause allowed over here. This will lead to an error. Let me show you the error. It will say syntax wrong or something like that. Where country ID is equal to 3. It says invalid truncate option. You cannot have that. You can have a storage clause or a reuse clause, but not a where clause. So when we do truncate, it is truncated. Now let's see, there's nothing in the date over there. See, I have not committed or anything. Let me just roll back. It says rollback completed because the rollback doesn't fail, but you would not have any data in your table because, as I told, truncate being a not commit, it will just commit. You have lost your data. So this is it. Now the last point that I was talking about, that if you have a primary key foreign key relationship and you are trying to delete the parent table or trying to drop the parent table. So as we see, this is our table. Let me put this data back in. Let me just commit it. Let me see this data. Yes, there is data. Let me create a child table. A table which references this. I'm creating a table called a city with city ID, country ID, city name, and I make the country ID reference to the country table. And as you see, there's no data in this table. The city table doesn't have any data, but it references the primary key of this table, country table. So now when I do a delete from our country table, when I do delete from country where ID equals to 3, what happens it's country. What happens the delete is allowed. I can just commit it is set because there is no reference in child data, so I can delete the parents. It's not a problem. So as we can see, the row number 3 is deleted. But now if I try and truncate this table, there's no data in the child table. See, as you can see, now if I do this truncate table country, it says unique key primary key in the table referenced by enabled foreign keys. A unique key primary key in the table is referenced by an enabled foreign key. So it is saying that there is a child table which is referencing this table. Even though the child table doesn't have any data, it doesn't let the parent table to be truncated. Now what you need to do is either you disable this foreign key by doing alter table name disable thing, and then go and truncate this. That is one way. Let me just do that. Alter table city, disable constraint name. It's always a good habit to declare the constraint at the last of the table by giving them some name, because in that case you can easily just disable them. So I've altered the city table, I have disabled this constraint. Now when I do and truncate the country table, it allows. Let me see. The country table is empty because I just disabled the foreign key. There's no foreign key now, so it allows. It doesn't have any problem. Then we put the data back, commit it. Yeah, so as I told, it doesn't allow now. So it allowed in drop, it didn't allow in truncate. So what do you think about drop? Like what will happen in drop? The delete was okay, the truncate didn't allow with the foreign key. Let me just enable it. I am enabling back the foreign key, and now I'm trying to do a drop table of the parent table, drop table country. What happens when I do a drop table? Same thing. It says a unique or primary key in the table is referenced as a foreign key. So what it says is, there is a foreign key. There is the primary key in your table. The primary key or the unique key is being used as a referencing key from any other child table. So you cannot do it. So the way to handle such is you have something like cascade constraint. When we do cascade constraint, what it does, let me open this table structure for you, the SQL table structure. When we see in the SQL, you can see there's no foreign key. What this cascade constraint did is it dropped this foreign key. There's no harm to the data of the city table or anything, just the foreign key is dropped and your table country is dropped. So select star from country, you don't have the table, you have missed it. But as I told you, there is a way, flashback query through which you can get back your table structure along with the data. I have done a separate video on it. You can have a look if you're interested to. Just let's do a small recap. So what a drop does, it deletes the data and the structure both. And now delete and truncate. Delete is a DML statement, so it can be rolled back. It has to copy the data into the undo table space in order to roll it back if the user requires, so it is a bit slow. But it will not update the HVM, so it will not the performance coming on the table will not improve after a delete. Still there will be empty blocks which have to be read and all. Your triggers would be fired, and even if there is a foreign key primary key, constraint in that parent child table thing, and you are deleting from the parent table, if the condition satisfied, you are allowed to delete, there is no problem. But in truncate, it gives an error. So yeah, the differences of the points of the truncates would be like it's a DDL statement, so they are auto commit. Your triggers will not get fired. You are not allowed to have a foreign key relationship. You are not allowed to have that. If you are truncating a table which is being referenced by any child table, then you can't have constraints, and your HVM will be reset. It will be reset as the table is brand new, so it will improve the performance and also save some space. So this is it, the difference between drop, delete and truncate. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please do like, share and subscribe. Please do let me know how you think about this video in the comments. Thank you very much.